Welcome everybody to Clueless Vino, the show where wine is used as a vehicle to conversation, and it's the only time we can drink and drive. I'm Clueless Vino, and today I have with me a good friend, Mancini. What's up, man?
What's up, bro? It's been a while.
It's been a minute, bro.
It's been a long time since the Randy Mac days, my
Yes,
man.
yes, sir. I don't even want to even think about that. It's over a decade, so yeah.
Reminds you how long you've been out of high school too. It ain't been it ain't been
Yeah.
that far either.
It get nasty, boy. It get nasty even thinking about it.
Yes.
But how you doing, man?
I'm great. It's been a while, couple of years, just with everything.
Yeah.
Everything is great, just trying to keep my mental health straight, like Marshawn said, keep your mentals straight, keep your chicken straight, and that's all I'm trying to do right now, man, is trying to get my chicken straight, keep my mental straight, and my kids, got little kids and stuff going on.
Yes, sir. Gotta keep the kids and the chicken straight, bro. Got to.
Got to.
I usually give the guests a little time to explain who they are and what they do. So floor is yours, man.
Absolutely. So again, I'm Mancini Grant. I'm in Winston-Salem, North Carolina, born and raised. Me and my man Brandon, Mr. Vino, met in college. He played basketball, I played football. I went on. Now I'm working in healthcare, where I'm an educator, and I also have an organization that I spend most of my time in, where basically I empower youth and adults to help them with their professional and personal development. So I've been doing that for the past 3 years, because I got when I got out of college, I went straight into recruiting at Aerotech, and that was actually the first job I got fired from. So that was wild. And then while I was there, I just kept seeing like different people come in, right? People trying to get a job. And what I noticed is that the Black people, or the Black men that came in, when they saw me, because I was the only Black dude on the team at that time, you know what I'm saying? So they would look to me as like this figure, as like a relief of hope, and was like, well, to me, it felt as if I felt bad when I saw that, because I feel like if they saw anybody else come through that door, that they would have felt like they didn't have a fair shot. You know what I'm saying? So for me, it was like, well, I got to do something about this. This is a mindset that I want to try to change in my community, and in other communities that are feeling that same type of hopelessness, So I started an organization, and I started trying to help people with their, professional development. Then I moved into like more of the intangibles, starting with confidence. Let's start with the ground level things. Like, let's start with the confidence. Let's start with understanding your skills, how to communicate, what accountability is, discipline, focus, and then moving those into practical skills, and being able to, it's one thing to be able to go for a job, go for an interview, but it's another thing to know how to conduct yourself while you're on that job, how to market yourself when it's time for you to leave, or be able to ask for some type of raise or increase, So it's a lot. And it's funny, because I actually started reading more and talking to a mentor, and they was basically like, hey man, you got a great idea. You just got to figure out how you're going to market it. And so that's where I'm at right now, the whole marketing thing. And, we grew up, we 30 something. So we remember the age of no internet, right?
Yep.
Like that was the dial-up road runner. And then just when social media kind of popped off, you know what I'm saying? I think that's the kind of great part about our generation, being able to see that. So that's where I'm at right now. So I got 2 kids, 2 beautiful kids, one girl that's 5 going on 14, and I got a little boy. I got a little boy that's 3 going on 10, and
Nice.
that is, so got a lovely girl, my lady as well. So we living it here in this life, in this good old world. So that's me.
I
That's
love
me.
it. I love to hear it, man. I love to hear it. Before we get into your organization, 'cause I really want to dive into that and just your journey about how you got into where you are today. Let's get our wine open. Let's get some wine.
Yes, sir.
So we both got Sauvignon Blancs, man. I got Claude Du Bois, It looks like
Mhm.
Clos Du Bois, so we're gonna go with that.
Mm. Yeah, I like the boys. Yeah,
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 I
yeah,
like Du Bois better. You feel me?
yeah. I like the boys better. Yeah.
What you got over there?
I've got dark horse.
Okay.
Got a little dark horse here. It tastes all right though. So it is crisp. It's real, very nice and crisp. It's a California 2020.
Okay.
So it's not aged too long. But I do like it though. It has a nice dryness with sweetness to it. It's not too dry like a red wine where I like have to go get some water to drink it.
Yeah, that's the thing about reds, man, is that they're dry, and I feel like I can only have one glass.
Yeah, literally. It's just
Yeah,
like I don't want any more after this because I'm about to go to sleep. The
Ex-
red wines put me down. Yeah,
it's like it's like a tranquilizer.
for sure. Like for real. It calms this beast down real quick.
Okay. And I like the other thing I like about specifically white wines is that they use like apples and pears and those type of
Yeah.
fruits, and I like that.
Yeah,
I like the aroma and I like the crispness
I
of it.
do. I do.
Yeah,
It makes it go down a lot smoother. If I can
exactly.
smell and it feels and it smells all right, yeah, it's gonna go down a lot smoother.
Cheers, brother.
Cheers, my man. Cheers. Thank you so much for having me. This is great. I've been seeing since you started it, right? And it's just been like, oh man, that's hard. I wish I was there, right?
Yeah.
So like I want to be in person because I know like that experience is something else. But I love this too, man. So I'm thankful and I'm grateful for you even having me on this, bro. I'm thankful. Thank you.
Absolutely, man. No problem. I mean, I know we had talked about it last year, and we were trying to find a weekend we could, we can get together. And I wasn't confident with the virtual just yet because I had an older laptop.
For sure.
I didn't have the mic at the time, so
Right.
I wanted to make sure everything was set first. And once I tested it recently, I was like, okay, I'm ready to do this. Let's go ahead and knock this out.
Get with that mic too after the fact, so I can get me one too. Because that's the big thing for me is get me a mic.
And dog, not even expensive. You would think it's crazy expensive. It's not.
Look, and that's the thing about it. I think now this is the best time to buy it because like since there are so many podcasts now, like people starting them, it's just like, well, all the equipment's got to go down now. The demand is too high. You need to, bank up that supply, baby.
Exactly.
Bring that price down.
Got to take advantage of it, bro. You got
to.
You had mentioned that that we met in college. Football, basketball. Do you remember? It sounds weird now because like it sounds weird now because like it was silly. Remember when like the football players and basketball players just didn't get along freshman year? Like, yes, I do. It's like why do they sit together all the time? Like, because with the basketball team.
Listen, bro. Listen. You know what was crazy though? You know what's so wild? I never experienced that, right? Because of the fact that y'all were the only other black people on the campus. So why would I like the baseball team's white, the other teams that I don't even know about what they play, they all white. So why wouldn't I say what's up to them? So
right, exactly.
Oh man, but that was mostly like the others that never really hit me. It never hit Earl. Like it was just like. We coming in freshman year, we got to stick together, bro, because I have no idea what I'm walking into. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
So it was a weird time, but I remember that from the other corny football players that used to be like, I don't like them over here, bro. Chill out. It's just not that serious.
It quickly went away.
I guess
once we all got together at least one time, it was like, all right, this is ridiculous.
Yeah, exactly. Like
cool. I was upset at them in Star Hall. Because they kept breaking stuff,
bro. Don't get me started on Star Hall. That Star Hall was a hazard. Like we should not have been in there. Like it should not have been like
bro. The thing fell on Buddy.
Fam.
Yes. The awning fell on, bro.
Okay, bro. Okay. You want to know something that probably not too many people know, right? So the reason why that fell on him, I think it was a weekend or 2 weekends before, right? Me and a few football players who will remain nameless at this time.
Yeah.
We was walking past Star Hall. Now what happened was there was a bike that was attached to one of the I guess
the
things
pillars,
that held up.
Yeah,
one of the pillars. So we walking by and they like, yo, there go a bike over there. I was like, word. I was like, go get it. And he was like, it's attached to the pillow. I was like, yo, man, snatch that shit.
God, man.
Football players, bro. We destruction. So he went, he grabbed it, and he tried to snatch the bike. When he did that, it moved the pillow.
Jeez.
And what he did was he just pushed it back. We was like, oh shit. I was like, bro, just push it back. You know what I'm saying? Then straight. A couple more times that, you know how that door used to slam.
Yeah.
And that door slamming moved that pillow some more.
Yeah.
And then my man, Ben, boom, right on.
Oh my God, man.
It was crazy. That was so crazy. It was
a lot of stuff happened at that dormitory, man.
Yeah, a lot of stuff. Even after we left.
Yeah.
There was a lot of stuff that happened. I'm just
at least they revamped it though.
They did.
Yeah, at least they revamped it. So it looked cleaner.
Yeah, they revamped everything. Everything over there just looks so much nicer now that we're going.
Bro, that campus is crazy, bro. It looks it.
But you know, we brought like our class. I would have to say we brought in a lot of that. Like because of how well the basketball team went and the football team for those 4 years that we were there, like it brought a lot going on there, bro. Like that, all that money. I mean, Lindgren did what he did, but
right. I always say that the foundation of where we are now is like it started with us.
Yeah, it started with us.
You know what I'm saying? Because without a lot of that early success, or like, you know, the tournament runs and the championships, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You know, you're able to recruit certain people, and then those people are able to, because of that success, it's a snowball effect, right?
Exactly. We brought in the most talent that school had seen especially in those two sports, like basketball and football. Like our class brought in the most talent, which allowed our coaches to be able to recruit other, you know, those other players. You know what I'm saying?
It's a lot easier to say, hey, come
absolutely,
and hey, we're doing this, we're doing that. You know what I'm saying?
We went from 3-7 to 8-2.
Yeah.
Quick, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Come on.
Yeah. The results speak for itself.
You feel me? So yeah, that was good.
So you had said that, you know, out of college, let's stay in college real quick. Okay. You say you work in healthcare now. Is that what you went to school for? Because we talked or whatever. We never actually talked about like what we wanted to do. You know what I'm saying? So
yeah, no, actually, I went to school. So when freshman year, I was a business econ major. Business econ major, and I took Greek.
Okay.
Terrible decision. It was an absolute terrible decision. So I set myself back pretty far. Yeah. And then I found psychology. Okay. Psychology turned out to be more interesting to me and something that I could pick up, because for whatever reason, just the concept of studying and what I had to study with business econ just wasn't clicking for me.
Right.
And it was just frustrating because I was just like, why can't I get it? Like, I'm getting tutoring, I'm talking to people, like my man Scott Pickett right beside me, and he helping me, he getting A's, and somehow I'm still getting this D over here. So I don't know. So I had to make a pivot, you know, and that kind of set me back later on, right? So I moved into psychology, and I believed I wanted to be a child psychologist. Okay. Right? I had some personal things at home that was going on that kind of led me that way, right? So I was like, okay, this is what I'm going to do. Like, I love kids. I want to work with the psychology of kids and helping them with their behaviors, right? And then I did a internship at a child abuse center. Okay. After I did that, I said, I'm not going to be a child psychologist. This I can't do it. I can't do it. Mainly because of just like trying to hear a 5-year-old explain what happened to them is probably one of the more, it was just terrible to have to hear, because trying to hear a child explain that was just like, nah, bro, I can't listen to that all day, because I had too much of a connection with kids. So I would not be able to have an unbiased or be able to separate the two. Sure. So I was like, you know what, I'm just gonna stay away from it and just love kids and protect them as much as I can from, you know, things like this. You feel me? So yeah. After that, what I realized was I wasn't going to be a psychologist. So I'm going to have to use this knowledge of understanding behaviors to my advantage somehow. So I just started using it in different ways that I worked and figured out where, certain things worked and where certain things did, and it helped me with just my interactions with people, being able to recognize behaviors, recognize attitudes or
Right.
and things of that sort, and just kind of knowing how to move around people. So I can get the best, out of them, by, communicating with them in the way they feel most comfortable. So recruiting was the next thing out of college. So, but in college, I thought I wanted to be a child psychologist. What did you go to school for?
I wanted to be a writer. So English was always going to be the thing. I wish they had a creative writing like major. But English was the next best thing. So like when I tell people like, oh, I got an English degree, obviously, you really can't go out into the world and be like, oh, I got an English degree. I'll give it this. You know what I'm saying? You can't. That's In hindsight, it's like, probably should pick something else. But I always wanted to be a writer. So like that was the closest thing for me. So I declared really easily. So I was knocking stuff out like early. You know what I'm saying?
Early, yeah, for sure. So, how's that working? I guess the question is, are you using that now? Like that degree, like, or do you feel like you're using it at all now?
At my job, nah. But like I mean, I'm still a writer. Actually, we just released the book just 2 days ago, man.
Word, congrats.
Yeah, man, we gotta, it's my second in a series. So, go get Bonds, man. It's Bonds.
Oh yeah, I got it. Yeah, for sure.
But yeah, so then you say you went to Aerotech. It's funny. I went through Aerotech to get the job that I'm at today, that I will not name who they are because they don't need that publicity.
No, they don't.
They don't. But yeah, I went through Aerotech. So it's interesting that you were also at Aerotech. I guess first tell me how the experience was. Like, how was your experience working there? And I guess, how did you get fired?
Okay, I'll tell you. Yeah. So I got the job because my man Kyle Wiggins was working there, and he reached out to me and was like, listen, I think you will be great for this. I said, okay, cool. And at the time, they were just hiring a bunch of like people fresh out of college, because people fresh out of college got the energy, they got the drive, they want to make the money, they want to go after it, right? So for me, my only other job besides this had been McDonald's. I've been working at McDonald's for 10 years. Well, not 10 years at that point, but I had been working there since high school. So at least 6-7 years I had been working at McDonald's. So that's what I knew. So going from that to the corporate world was just a big jump for me.
Sure.
So being the only, I would say this, like black, it was very interesting, right? It was a very cool environment. Like everybody was really cool, and everybody was just really like on the go. I didn't know how to work, right? And I think that's a thing that a lot of people don't necessarily like realize. Like, yeah, you can probably get trained to do something, right?
Yeah.
Like it's totally different from like knowing like the little nuanced things to like help you further, right? Like you can do the basic things that they asking you to do and still like not really come up with nothing, because you got to know that extra thing that you need in order to get there, right?
That makes sense.
And so for me, I was just going straight off of my personality and just being cool, right? And I thought that was going to get me there. And it didn't. It was like I had some success, right? I had some success. I kind of figured out some things, like I was on the architecture and engineering division. So I dealt with anybody from a general labor working on the construction site to the instructional designer themselves. So we would hire in between there. It was me and one other person and my manager at the time. And so there got to a point where I was getting more hires in like our they called it the high volume, basically our high volume team. Well, basically they had people coming in and out, 20 to 30 people getting started at a time, right? So, and each hire came like with a certain amount of money. You had a base salary, and then you got unlimited commission. So any hire that you got whatever percentage that was, and then that will be added to your comp total, your compensation total, or your commission total, whatever. You know what I'm saying? And that's what everybody was striving for. So it was very competitive in there, and things could be cutthroat. Like you could have a person on the line, and then somebody else could come in and swoop and take that position with somebody else.
Right.
So it was you had to learn that, right? It wasn't no real, everybody was cool, but wasn't nobody really your friend when it came down to the job, unless you worked in a different division, which was okay, whatever. I get it, you know?
Yeah.
So my experience was cool. I got a solid 8 months out of it, right? I got a solid 8 months. And again, it was just the fact that I didn't know how to work. Like I didn't know how to use my skills, or I didn't necessarily know what my skills were at that time. You know what I'm saying? I just knew that I'm nice. I can be very professional. I can speak well, and I can do busy work. Like I can make a whole bunch of calls, or I can detail this, or I can notate this.
Yeah.
But like the actual inner workings of recruiting, I didn't know how to do it. You know what I'm saying? And so eventually, like I had made some mistakes, like trying to hire some people or trying to reach out to people, or not doing enough research to find out that this person is on the do not call list or something like that.
Sure.
And then there was one particular time with me and my manager, and I'll never forget this day. And my manager had been gone, I believe, and there was a phone call he wanted me to make on a position that we had been working on for a long time, right? And I had been calling folks like, yo, you trying to do this? Yo, you trying to do this? This is it. And he had came back and he had said something to me about making a call. He was like, did you make this call? And I said something to the effect of, I'll make the call something. I say something about, I'm going to make the call. And he was like, what? And I said, I'll make the call when something, whatever, right? Because at that point in time, I was still kind of like a little bit of a hot-head at times, you know what I'm saying? You know, and then I was very prideful at that time. And at that point in time, I thought like, look, bro, like you haven't been here. You don't know. I've been telling you what we've been having going on here. Like, I understand you under pressure, but you're trying to take that out on me. And I'm not the one, you know? So I just felt like it was just like a power move, and I just wasn't having it. And after that, me and him got kind of cool, but we still had, you know, our little friction.
Yeah, static.
We had our static. Yeah, we had a little static.
Yeah.
And then eventually it got to the point where my director was like, you know, I think it might be best that, you know, I'll never forget the day when I got fired too. It was crazy. I worked the whole day. They called me in after the day was over with. It was like, hey, listen, you know, we think you're not the best fit at this time, right?
Bro, that's crazy. The worst, by the way.
Bam.
Like my thing is like, you have two choices. You have one, call me before I come in and be like, hey, yo, dog, this ain't gonna work. Yeah. Or, you know what I'm saying? No, in fact, that's the only choice. Don't have me come in. Don't have me come in, work the whole day and be like, you know what?
Yeah.
The only thing worse than that is having me come in. Me coming in, you pull me in the office and say, no, this ain't gonna work. So you mean I wasted my gas to come in?
Yeah, come here. No, sir.
No,
call me before I get there to let me know. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
Or like, it's just like, I guess like they wanted to get the most production out of me, like for that, you know, for that last day. Because if you tell me beforehand, you know, it's up after that. Like it's over. I'm out of here. You know what I'm saying?
It's like they took the washcloth and was like, let me go ahead and get this one quick squeeze.
Yeah. Well, bro. And I mean, the thing about it was, it was so crazy. I had started working part-time at McDonald's again, because it was the McDonald's that I was working with while I was in college, right? I was working while I was in college. And then I called them. I had started working like in the evenings just to pick up some extra bread at that time because I was hurting, bro. Like talking about spending money. Like we got paid $350. I'll never forget. We got paid $350 every week. Like every Wednesday, that $350 was hitting that account. By Tuesday, I'm just trying to go to sleep early so I can wake up in this Wednesday. I have no money. Check go. I done went out Thursday, Friday, Saturday, chilled on Sunday. Boy, I was tripping. And so I had to pick up some extra money. And it was so wild because after I packed my stuff up when I got fired, I told Kyle what happened. He was like, all right, man. I cried. I called my mom. And then I called McDonald's and I was like, yo, I'm gonna be there in the morning. It was like, all right. You know what I'm saying? It was just like, and I was just like, I gotta do something, bro. Cause I mean, bills still gotta get paid. I got my first apartment, right? This is my first apartment, right? And I'll never forget that place because somehow this is the only apartment complex that I know that would let you pay on your rent. Like I was paying, when I got paid, I gave her $200. The lady, I guess the girl in the front just really was cool. Like she really fuck with me. So I was just like, yo, I got 200. She was like, they're gonna send you out the papers, but as long as you bring me something, I won't let them, take it to court. I was like, word. You know what I'm saying? So it's crazy, bro. Crazy.
I like that too, though, because like a lot of people will be prideful. Like you were just talking about how like we can be very prideful. And a lot of people wouldn't go back to McDonald's. But as you get it as an adult, as a man, dog, like when bills is due, when you have responsibilities, you gotta do what you gotta do, man.
You gotta do what you gotta do. You gotta do what you know. It was and it was wild, like maybe 6 months after I got fired, they called me and they sent me on a maybe 3 months. It was maybe about 3 months. It was in that same year. But they sent me on They sent me out on a job. Like my man Peter at the time called me and was like, yo, we got a job for you. Would you be interested? I'm like, yeah, you know what I'm saying? He's like, it's a recruiting job. You go down. So I had to go to Chesterfield. I had to work in Chesterfield, and my apartment's in Richmond in Henrico.
Yeah.
So I'm traveling, down there, to go to that job or whatever. And they put me there, and then eventually, like, I end up having to move because I was like, I'm not gonna keep doing that, and the last thing I want to do is go home. So it was just like I gotta figure out something, feel me? And so I ended up doing that, and they placed me at a place for like 3 months, and then after that, I ended up leaving, coming back to North Carolina. After that, that was my last stint.
And so I want to touch on. So I want to make sure I get the organization correct because I like to be very accurate on this podcast.
Absolutely.
The Qualtiy Truth Organization, man. I just want to read the mission statement that we have. We partner with people to enrich their professional development and overall quality of life. I like that because, and I was reading through the the website or whatever, and a lot of it harks on stuff that it's about giving people the tools to be able to go out into society and thrive. You know what I'm saying? Like, because a lot of what happens is, especially in high school, right? In high school, sure, there are things that they teach us that is useful. One of my least favorite things is when you remember this, and I know you remember this. You taking a math quiz. You know the answer. What are they gonna tell you? Show your work.
Show your work.
You're not gonna have a calculator all the time. You lied because my phone has it every day.
You have. Right now, I have a T89 on my phone.
right now. So like there are things that they taught us where like, yes, it's useful, but we're not necessarily going to use it every day. But what I'm seeing here is resume building, just basic credit. You know what I'm saying? Basic credit understanding. Because that's the one thing that I wish that college taught us, or not high school taught us, is that it's the basic idea of credit. Because you think you could just go out and buy things without it, but you need credit. you need to know how to build it. You need to know how to protect it. You know what I'm saying? So
exactly.
That's what I like about this organization is that you're giving people not only which like you said, intangibles, you're giving them intangibles, and then you're taking those intangibles and morphing them into something they can physically use when they're going out into the world for work. So tell me more about that.
It was just like I did my research on what I was seeing out there, right? That people were doing, right? It was either people were given the empowerment piece or they were given the instructional piece. And I was just like, well, they've got to merge together, you know, because I can tell you everything you need to know about credit all day long. But you're not confident or don't know how to communicate it, you don't understand it, or you don't know the right questions to ask, or if you just don't feel as if you're not going to be able to understand it, then there's no point in me trying to give it to you, right? So it's like I need to build you up first, right? I wanted to take people, especially that's why I've started with middle school now. I've been working with Winston-Salem State for the past like 3 years with their middle school and high school kids in their math and science program. So I'm the enrichment piece for them. Like every other Saturday, I'm actually going to see them this Saturday. And so what I want to do is say, well, one, we're going to build your confidence. Once you get your confidence together, we're going to teach you how to communicate. And then we're going to have you understand about accountability. What I like to do is make them think, right? Because now people have the luxury of not having to think, right? They pick somebody to do the thinking for them, and then they just go along with that, right? I need to teach you how to think, right? Like somebody told me, is like, I can give you the fish or I can teach you how to fish, right? I'm gonna teach you how to fish, right? And that comes with you being able to recognize who you are, the things that make you tick, the things that you're frustrated with, the things that you find to be that you love about yourself, and the things that you don't necessarily like about yourself, right? And we're going to take all those things and we're going to find the best path for you. And then I'm going to give you the tools. Because I think even if somebody's going to be an entrepreneur or whether they're going to be a worker for somebody's company or organization, there's still certain tools you need, right? And then once you start making your money, you need to understand credit. You need to understand how to invest, right? You need to understand how to prepare yourself when it's time for you to, interview, or prepare yourself when you have a conflict at work, or prepare yourself to have that hard conversation with your manager about what your value is. You need to understand your value, right? And I think that's another thing too. A lot of people now have this sometimes false sense of what their value is. Like, you ever heard somebody say, I can be trained to do anything?
Yeah.
I bet you could, right? So it's one thing for me, again, to train you to do this. But if you don't necessarily care about it as much, or if you don't have that extra piece to take you over the top, then I'm just teaching you something. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's not necessarily going to be, you're not going to be the best. You might be able to do it, but I need the best heart surgeon, right? I need the best, optometrist, right? I need the people to be the best in their field for me or my family, right? I don't want somebody that's just okay at it.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? You remember those commercials, like, you know what I'm saying? You can just be okay, but it ain't gonna get me there. So I want to, and this whole organization is really kind of a big thing for me too. Like, I try to listen. I'm starting to do a better job of listening to the advice or the information I'm giving out, and I'm trying to really apply it to my own life, right? Because I think it's really easy to see things from the outside in and try to fix it. And then you don't put the mirror to yourself to say, I need to fix what I got going on too. You know what I'm saying? I can be better here too. You know what I'm saying? So maybe I need to listen to this more as well. You know what I'm saying? So it was really just trying to give people the whole package, because I try to believe that I myself, even though I do have the things I need to work on, is the full package as far as having some intangibles, and then as well as the professional, tools as well, to be able to kind of bring those things together. So I just want to give it to the people that look like me and those who kind of suffer the same way that people look like me do, Yeah.
And when you were talking about when you were at Aerotech, and you would get a black man that would come in and you would see his eyes like light up. Like, it's something subtle, right? It's something like you see the eyes like flashes quick, because they're like, all right, I might have a shot here.
Yeah.
Because it's not and there's no disrespect, because it's no disrespect to, to other people like who might have walked through that door. It's just that from where we stand and where we've come from and how we've dealt with things, we know that there's a better chance if it's someone that looks like us, right?
Exactly.
And so your job and your thought, from what I'm understanding, is you're trying to build their confidence up where they can go in and it don't matter who walked through that door.
It don't matter who walk in there.
Right.
That's the whole thing.
Mm-hmm.
That's the whole thing. Because for me, it didn't matter, right? I'm like, if I'm not like, I believe that I'm exceptional in certain things, but at the end of the day, I'm still just your typical Black dude who came from, you know, two parents who were just enough, they like made enough money to get by, but we never, like, I was always in the middle, right? We weren't too poor to get assistance, but we definitely didn't make enough money to be able to just, you know, do that. We was always in that middle ground, feel me? Right. So it was like, if I can come out of that, and I didn't have the most ever, like whatever I got, I had to go get it and work for it. Like, and that built up some type of, you know, confidence for me to understand, okay, like I know I can work, I know I can make something for myself. That enough is enough to kind of make you get to success or get to a point where you can walk in any room. It's just the start, you feel me? And I just wanted others to feel the same way. You know what I'm saying? Like, no matter who walks through this door, you need a job. You have the skills. Just like I tell people who are going on interviews, like, you are interviewing that company just as much as they're interviewing you. Yeah. Because they saw you, they wanted you. So you got to make sure that they're a good fit for you, just like they got to make sure you're a good fit for them. You know what I'm saying? It's like they're not giving you anything. You know what I'm saying? You just were on Instagram recently, and it was I wish I could pull it up real quick, but it was important because, like you said, bring these three things into interviews. Can you go ahead and go through that real quick just for the people? Yeah. So resume, you want to have at least 1 or 2 copies of your resume. You want to have questions, at least 7 to 10. You know, I always say at least 6 or 7. You want to print those out and take them in with you, and, you know, hand them out. Or if it's virtual, email them, you know, like to whoever you interviewing with. And then always have an inquisitive, you know, mindset when you go in. Like, ask questions, because you want to know as much as you can about their organization, how they, you know, operate, you know, what they expect from people when they first come in. Like, what are their, you know, benchmarks? Like, what do they expect you to be doing by this time, you know? And what are your growth opportunities? You know, how do they compare their average employee to their, you know, above average employee? Like, what's the difference between those two, you know? And I think those types of questions gives you a chance, right? It gives you that extra step, because most people aren't going to ask those types of questions, right? Because again, most people are just excited to be in the room, right? You have some people who are like assholes about interviewing. It's just like, I own it. This is my job. You know, y'all gonna want to hire me just because. But then you have a lot of people who really are just going in. They don't know necessarily how to explain who they are. Like, even the simple question of, can you tell me about yourself? A lot of people don't know how to answer that question, right? So what would you say to somebody how to answer that question? Because I think that's a question that gets asked all the time in interviews, and you don't necessarily, I think what trips people up, they don't know if they're being mean personal, they don't know if they mean work, they don't know what that really entails. So what would you say to someone who is trying to answer that question? I think you have to use a combination of both personal and your experience, right? And I think it blends in. So I would say, to answer the question, in a sense, if I was being asked that question, I would say, you know, I'm Mancini Grant. You know, I started off here, right? I started off at McDonald's. This was my first job when I started working. And, you know, I was in high school and I was very excited because it was my first job. And then from there, I worked there for quite some time, about 3 or 4 years, moved into a crew trainer position, you know, worked at several different types of McDonald's with different positions. And then, you know, I've moved into this healthcare role, or I moved into human resources, you know, and, you know, this right here brought me to this place. So I might even start off where I went to college, right? You know, I went to college for this, and this is kind of has taken me through this particular realm. It's like, I'm going to keep everything relevant to, if it pertains to the job or my journey, then I'm going to mention it, right? I don't have to get into like, well, I was born and raised here. I don't, you know, this is what I like to do in my spare time, you know, more so just like, okay, this is me. I went to school for this. This is kind of taking me into this particular realm or this industry. This is where I started at. I progressed here, and now this is where I am now, and this is kind of where I want to go next. So given that timeline of where you've been, where you are right now, and then where you're trying to go.
Yeah, I know from experience, just like doing some certain interviews, that's one of those things where like it's a tricky way to answer, because you're trying to guess what they want to hear. And I think having that kind of baseline idea of what you should say is important for people. And I hope that somebody can take this and be like, all right, now I know what I need to do.
Exactly. Exactly. I hope so too. I hope everyone can use those things. And the questions, for sure, do your research is what I also say too. Like, do as much research on that company as you can. Asking questions surrounding like their mission statement is always good. So how do you all fit your mission statement in your employee interaction or your employee engagement? Like, how do you keep employees engaged? Like, what incentives do you all have? Like, I think it's very appropriate to ask those types of questions in an interview, because you want to know everything there is to know that you can't find out on the website. And they appreciate that, right? If they see that you are invested in what they do, then they'll feel like, okay, well, this person is a team player. They'll buy in. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Even if it's just like, I'm buying in so I can, get my check. Sure. Yeah, I buy in. Yeah, of course. Sure. And you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, that's a fact, though, because not everybody's ideal is career based, right? Sometimes it's, listen, I need a job. I'm trying to buy in, and I know that certain jobs and certain managers think that working for a paycheck is looked down upon, but you can't do that with everybody, because not everybody has the same passions. Not everybody is focused on this particular field, right? Sometimes we need a paycheck to be able to pay for what we. Now we should be able to use this job to branch off into what we're looking for. But I also think that, like what you said there, is you need to interview and be inquisitive about the organization, because just because the pay might be okay, and just because what you're doing might be okay, the other things surrounding it could still make for a bad experience at that job.
Yeah, absolutely. Most people don't quit because of pay; they quit because of the environment, right? Like most people don't. It's just like the pay. Like, if the environment, people will stay in a low-paying position because the environment is good. Like, and people quit high-paying jobs because the environment is bad.
Yep.
Because at the end of the day, like, no amount of money, and until you make that amount of money, right? Until people make like a certain amount, like I tell my homeboys, like a lot of times, like, what I'm saying, because I'm blessed to be in a position where, I make a decent amount. It's just like, bro, I'm still struggling, bro. Like, I'm still going from, check to check. And at the end of the day, like, the environment still has to be good. Like, no matter like how much they paying you, you still got to make sure this is where you want to work, because you got to get up and go make that money. Like, if you in an environment where you don't even want to get up out your bed and get on, you know what I'm saying? Like, get online at home, right? Like, there's people like that. Like, I'm not even trying to get online at home because I hate the Zoom meetings. They don't do anything with us. You know what I'm saying? Like, we got all these measures we need to make. Nobody's getting paid anymore. Like, because no job or business is going to pay you what you truly are worth. It's going to pay you just enough to get you on the stream. And then, incrementally, small increments, inch you all your way up to where you think you're getting to. So it's just like, are you okay with that? If you cool with that and you understand that, I still think that even if it's just a job, you still got to give that 100%, because you want to be able to market yourself. Like, if you're going to use the job, right? If it's there for a paycheck, also gain you some other skills. So when it's time to leave, you can put that on your resume, and you can tell another job who you really want to go to, okay, while I was here, I did this, and this on top of what my regular duties were. You know what I'm saying? Like, I didn't expect to be here for long, but while I was here, I still was able to, add this, training to my resume, or I was able to, exceed these numbers or this quota while I was there, or I got this particular award while I was there. You know what I'm saying? So when you get to the other job, it's stick up time. This is what my price is, and this is why. You know what I'm saying? Like, people want to ask for more money, but don't necessarily have the experience or the accolades or the things to back it up to justify it. Like, yeah, I bet I could pay you that, but why?
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So
Exactly.
that's the other side to it. Like, you got to hold up your end if you're gonna be in that industry, right? So you can market yourself well.
It's basically, you know what it's like, and I don't know why. I don't want to do this because it's like I can't have people thinking like that. Oh, of course it's them. But I was thinking in my mind, I was like, oh, it's just like when dudes like flip drugs or whatever. But let's use something else. Let's use something else. It's like flipping a house, right? Like you buy a house low value. So let's say that the house is yourself. Like you come into a job, you never may not have the skills or whatever, but you have like the energy, you have the what's called. So now you're investing this time and this effort in there. And then, like you said, when it's time to, when it's stick up time,
stick up time.
It's time to flip it, and let's get triple, double, whatever than what I was at the beginning.
Exactly.
So I like that.
I'm gonna take the short for now. But when after I gain all this knowledge, right, I'm able to do this, and this, and like, that's another thing too. People are negotiating with no bullets. Like, you pointing the gun at them to say it's stick up time, but you don't have no bullets to justify why. You got to be able to say, like, yes, I was able to meet these numbers and I exceeded these for this amount of time, right? This is, what I was able to do. I reduced this, I was able to produce this. So the overall numbers, went here. We were able to get here because I was able to do this. And I think in the interview, the interview is not the time to get modest. The interview is time to boast. Like, this is the time to talk about yourself. Like, if you don't get no other time to feel good about bragging about what you've done, that's the time to do it, right? Especially if you have the accolades to back it up. Now, if you just, saying I'm great, but you don't have no reason for me to believe that you're great, then I'm just be like, all right, you blowing smoke. Right. But if you have the things to back it up, then it's just like, okay, this person is about what they got going on. Like, they believe this and that. So, and that comes with saying, even at that job that you're not going to be at for a long period of time, gaining as much knowledge, getting as much, additional certificates, extra work, just so you can put it on your resume. You have to think about it. It's like, I'm trying to take care of myself. It's not about them. It's not about they're going to reap the benefit of your work for now.
Right.
But that's the thing. Like, it can't just be about right now. You got to think about 2 years from now. 2 years from now, you have addition, because now it's not uncommon. You know how it was crazy uncommon for somebody, if somebody stayed at a job just for a year and they had like just a year on their resume, like people jumping from job after a year. That used to be crazy in my time. Like, in our time,
that's true.
Like, just like, well, you job hopping, that looked crazy. Now, a year is fine, because the way everything's automated now, like, it ain't gonna take you but a few weeks to get on, and then after that, like, you on your own, you good to go. So it's an interesting thing, the whole game of interviewing and going on the job and figuring out like how to market yourself and be valuable. And I think that's another thing with pride, and people really not understanding what their value is. Sometimes people overvalue themselves, like, based on their position, and some people undervalue themselves. So it's about really understanding where you fit in and what impact you truly have on the overall goal, whether it's your own business or somebody else's.
Yeah, I agree, man. I wanted to kind of like finish or close with something else I think you really talk about a lot, and that's mental health, and kind of like protecting like your your mental health, your peace, specifically as like a Black man or whatever. So just quick anecdote time. You would say that you cried after I believe when you got fired or whatever. You know how it was back in the day, right? And just the mental thing, like, men aren't supposed to cry. Men are supposed to be strong, tough, whatever.
Absolutely.
So I haven't cried since 2007. when my great grandmother passed away.
True.
And a lot of people have suggested and told me that it's not necessarily that I don't show emotion or whatever, or I'm bottling things up, but they're like, you need to release this, or you need to have something, you need to release this or whatever, because it feels like you're bottling things up or whatever.
Yeah.
Like normal people cry in certain situations. I don't. I'm like, I'm a logistical thinker. I'm like, well, you know, this person was sick, so clearly it was about to happen.
You can justify it with
you know what I'm saying? So that's always been me. I've always been that guy. So like I've never given myself time to do that. And as I don't know if it's right or wrong. I don't know if it's right for me or it's wrong that I do that, but like, what would you say to that? Like, is that a bad thing for me, or is like, what do you think? Like, because I know it's tough being a Black man, right?
Yes.
It's not necessarily easy, especially with some of the stuff that's happened over the years.
Absolutely.
And just like, what would you say to that?
I would say it is not neither bad or good. What it is everybody releases differently, right? For me, it was football for a long time, right? And that was how I got my anger out, frustrations, whatever, right? After football was gone, I was left with, well, what do I do now to release this? What do I do now? Like, working out was there for a little bit, but then after a while that dwindles, like that stops, it slows down, because it's not in the routine anymore. Like, so what I found was, for me, being able to cry was the only way that I truly, and this is how I always do it. I can always feel myself getting to a point where I'm getting overwhelmed, or I'm feeling as if like it's getting to be too much right now. So what I do is, there's always like this gospel playlist that I have, right?
Okay.
I grew up a Christian. Not sure what I am right now. But that's where I grew up, and the song still, even though the religion piece is just not so much for me, the songs still do something for me, right? So when I know things are getting to a point where it's just like, it's too heavy for me right now, like I'm just not, I can't take it anymore, and I don't want to spaz, right? I got children, like a girl, like I got my family that depend on me. I can't spaz out on people because it's not necessarily anything anybody in particular has done. It's just like, I'm just overwhelmed with thought and pressure, and just like thinking about how I'm gonna take care of my family, protect my family, afford my family. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's just, you get overwhelmed with that as a Black man. And so usually I cry in my car, because that's the only time I really have to myself, right? At the end of the day, like, that's the only time I really got to myself. I'll turn on this gospel playlist, and then I just go and I just let it out. I can tell when it's coming. I can tell when. And so for me, it's like, to tell you, it's not a bad thing that you don't cry, because the body or your mentals or your emotions are either going to express themselves in a few different ways, right? You're going to spaz, you're going to lose it, or you might cry. The idea is allowing yourself to get to that point. Like, don't stop it if it's coming, right? Because you may very well need it in that moment in time. You know what I'm saying? And what you have to do is, you have to figure out what is it that does give you that release, that is not one of those, like, what, it's not smoking, it's not drinking, it's not some type of like distraction or some type of external thing. What is it within you, or something that you can do for yourself that helps you get that out? Like, what did basketball do for you? Did it give release?
Yeah. I mean, I feel like if I was, before certain games, if I was like feeling a certain way, I felt like I was ready to take it on whoever was on the opposite side. Like, you know what I'm saying? I would picture whatever was bothering me on the opposite side. So I can see that. And I think now and just throughout since college or whatever, it's been writing.
Mm-hmm.
When I write, like
Mm-hmm.
I know I do a lot
Pour it
of
out. You
poetry
pour
stuff,
it out.
like whatever
Yeah.
it is. Let's just get it out. Let's see what comes out of it. Sometimes I
That's your
use it,
cry.
sometimes I don't. But yeah,
That's your cry.
Mhm.
That is your cry. And that's okay. Like, I think people expect that or think that an emotional expression has to be physical, and it doesn't.
Mhm.
It just has to be something that is, one, not harmful to your body or
Mhm.
potentially harmful to your body, right? And it's not something that you don't regret doing after you do it.
Mhm.
So your piece is when you write. You are a writer.
Mhm.
So you're getting that out. That's you crying, right? Like, you know what I'm saying? I got you. I can't see it coming down my eyes.
Mhm.
So I gotta make this song cry, right?
Yeah.
You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? Apparently there's a Jay-Z line for everything. So you have so what I'll say to you is that you have writing. That is your crying. You know what I'm saying? So that is, so you continue to use that as that tool for you to get out what you feeling, right? Because I mean, that's what my therapist said. I've been going to therapy for 3.5 years now.
And that's something
Right.
I want to get into because
It's beautiful.
yeah, I'm about to have a second child, dog. My anxiety's going through the roof.
Oh man, congratulations,
Yeah,
bro.
man. Yeah.
Congratulations,
Yeah,
bro.
yeah.
That's awesome. Yeah. 2 is enough for me. I'm done.
Yeah. Oh, believe me, sir. That's it for me.
3 is a crowd.
Three is a crowd, 3 is a company. All of them sound too much.
I got my boy and my girl. You know what you having?
Not yet. We'll know March 12th.
Okay. Oh, it's around the corner.
Yeah.
Send my love. That's beautiful, man. That's beautiful. Blessings.
Yeah.
Blessings. Okay, yes. So you're gonna be writing a lot, you know. So that's what I would just say, that writing seems to be your avenue to get out those frustrations. And I think it's important, especially if you don't know how to necessarily express it externally. You know what I'm saying? I think writing is the best way to do it, and maybe going back and reading those things and kind of seeing like, okay, this is where I was at, dating it to make sure, like, I'm sure you you keep up with what you're writing down.
Sure.
So I would go back and read, saying, this is where I was. Well, how am I feeling today? You know what I'm saying? Do I still feel that way? I think if you're going to write it down, I think it's important for you to go back to it, read what you wrote, because I tell you, like, a lot of times I've written things out, like written out how I was feeling. And it's like I blanked out. Like, I don't have any idea what I wrote. I was just going, you just get in that zone where it's just coming out. And I don't really know what I'm saying. I don't even know if any of this is making sense, but I'm just going. And you go back and you read it, and it's just like, wow, like, that's where I was. Okay.
Yeah.
I know exactly what was going on at that time.
Yeah.
And do I still feel that way? So you can use that as your benchmark, to kind of see like where you're at, and you can have that conversation with yourself to figure out, okay, maybe I'm consistently writing this same thing down. Seems like this same thing is coming out. Maybe I really need to go see about it. And the whole therapy thing, bro, I go to a Black woman, and she's amazing, counseling with a purpose, Miss Nicole Moore. That is my dog, and she keeps me straight, and I think therapy is a beautiful way to learn more about yourself. That's all it is. I think people think is you have to sit down and talk about your problems. No, you're gonna talk about them because, one, you paying this person.
number one.
Number one, you are paying this person.
Yeah.
And two, they are there to ask the questions based on what you're telling them, right? You have that other perspective. So they ask you a question, you tell them what's going on with you. And what my therapist does is always says, well, this is what I'm hearing from you. Is this what you mean, or do you mean something else? And it's just like, you have to sit there and really think about, is this really what I'm trying to say? Or is this, how I'm feeling in this moment? So I encourage you to definitely go to therapy, bro. I encourage all people, especially Black people, to go to therapy. Black men, for sure, go to therapy. Find you somebody that's you're comfortable with. I started out with a white gentleman. He was cool. It was through the job. And then I was like, I got to get me my own. And I chose a Black woman, and it's been the best thing. So everybody has something different, but find you somebody for real that you can talk to.
Yeah, I think that's something I definitely want to do. I just want to, because the stigma, man, in the Black community, because they think if you go to a therapist, they think you're crazy, right?
Is he crazy?
Yeah,
Yeah,
they think you're nuts.
At this time, that's over. Like, that's
Yeah,
got to be over. And in our community too, still like me now, like when people say stuff like that, I'm like, bro, you crazy for not going.
yeah,
Like if you got issues, and I know we all got issues
we all
and
do.
bullshit that we've dealt with like in the past that we ain't never really thought about. Like it's shit that's coming up like that I never even thought was probably an issue. You know what I'm saying? But it's just like you shouldn't be going through that. You shouldn't have seen that. You shouldn't have experienced that. And since you did, how does that make you feel about that? You know what I'm saying? And if you can have that realistic conversation, then you on the right track. It took me 6 months to really start opening up about what was going on with me and what I really was feeling. So you got to give it time. You know what I'm saying? You're not gonna feel comfortable at first. Because it's like it's a battle of letting that guard down, being truly vulnerable. You know what I'm saying? Like that's a tough thing to do, bro. Like it's not easy. So give yourself that time to do it, and you just got to really take it day by day, session by session. And if you don't feel the vibe with the first person that you get another one. Like the first lady I went to was probably the worst experience I had. Like I spent more time filling out paperwork. She was an older lady. Her room, her office was just like cluttered. Like, bro, like it was like bears and extra chairs and just like 1960s decorations. And I was just like, what the fuck is going on? I can't think. I'm getting overwhelmed just being in this room. Like it's paper stacked up. And what's so crazy, like I talked to Miss Edwina. I'll never forget her. Nobody ever get Miss Edwina unless you're 50 years old and older. I probably shouldn't say that, but I've had a little dark horse. So
shout out to Edwina, man. Shout
out Edwina. She's probably best for your grandma or your mom. She is not for anybody in between the ages of 18 and 40. She's not the best. I will just tell you that now. But she focused mainly on, like I was telling her, I hadn't even really got to any issues. I was just telling her that I smoked cigarettes. And she was just like, you need to stop smoking cigarettes. Or when you think of, I told her I had 2 kids. She was like, when you think about picking up a cigarette, you should think of those children. And I wanted to, I'm like, but they the reason why I want to pick up a cigarette. I don't even understand what's going on here. Like, Ms. Edwina, you gotta understand. So after that, I just like, you know what? I'm not even gonna go back in here. I appreciate it, but nah, I'm not doing that no more. So it was just like, if you don't feel it that first time, like if you don't, because you gotta really kind of open yourself up so you can feel as if this person is gonna be able to help you or not, and you'll be able to tell. Like, so shop around. Like, psychologytoday.com is where I went to find my therapist. So you can filter it by location and stuff like that, and they'll find all the therapists. They'll list out all of their like specialties, so you'll know what they specialize in before you call them and stuff like that. Also through your insurance. So all insurances now I think most of them are required to have some type of behavioral health benefit in their benefits. So if you get benefits through your employer, definitely call them and ask them like about the approved providers in your network. So you can go ahead and find that. And that's, and a lot of people don't know about their benefits or don't understand their benefits. They just know they got insurance. So call about that and ask the questions so they can educate you on that. So that's important for real.
I love it, man.
For sure, man.
Let's at Clueless Vino, man, we like to rate our wines. We like to give it a 1 out of 5 glasses, man. So I'll start with you, man. Dark Horse, what are you giving that out of 5 glasses, man?
I'm going to give this a solid 4.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. I know you said you weren't a big wine drinker, so that's
I'm not a big wine drinker, but this is good. Like, this is really good. I think I put a nice little dent in it. I feel like I'm not halfway, but I'm almost there. But yeah, it's nice. I enjoyed it.
Yeah, man.
What about you?
So I'm gonna give Close the Boys. I think I'm also giving mine a 4, man.
4? Okay.
I'm gonna give this a 4 too. I like Sauvignon Blancs. I like white wines just because they, again, they're not super dry.
Right.
I don't like super sweet. I don't like super dry. I'm like that right in the middle type guy.
Yeah.
And I can see this. I can see this during the springtime, bro.
Mm-hmm.
Outside,
Mm-hmm.
you know what I'm saying, kicking it
Mm-hmm. It's
while
just, yeah,
the
kicking it.
little
Yeah,
ones
yeah,
around
yeah.
doing nothing. Yeah,
Absolutely. And
yes,
maybe the grill is going, maybe it's not, but just sitting on the porch. Yes,
you know what I
sir.
mean?
Yes,
Yeah.
sir. Yes,
Come on,
sir.
man. Come on,
Yes,
man.
sir.
Just kicking
I'm picking it up. I'm picking it up, brother. I'm picking it up.
kicking,
This
man.
is all right. I'm glad you suggested this. I'm glad I went and got that. Got this right here. This is nice right here.
But yeah, man, I want to thank you for coming on. Again, way too long. We should never let this happen again, where we go
Never
too
let this
long
happen again.
without
Yeah.
talking. You were one of the first few football players I was like, you know what, this is my guy.
Yeah, for sure.
And I'm glad.
You're my man.
And I'm glad that we were able to hop on here, because one thing I appreciate about you is that society has a certain view of Black men, or
Yeah,
how we talk, how we what you call it.
yeah.
And you've always debunked that. I feel like you've always presented yourself as, you've always presented yourself well. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like you're one of the, like, there's not a lot of people who I would say like is as charismatic or well spoken as you.
Thank you,
Like
bro.
you
That
got
means a
the
lot.
you got the gift of gab. You know what I'm saying? You got the gift of gab, and
Hey,
I've
man.
always appreciated that, and I
I
love what you're
appreciate that,
doing
bro.
with the Qualtiy Truth Organization.
I appreciate that, bro.
Um, I wish you nothing but continued success,
You too,
and
bro.
and
Thank you.
and I think as the years go on, I think there's gonna be an organization that's gonna grow, and I
Yeah.
think it's gonna be something where it's your legacy. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, for sure.
That's for sure gonna be your
That's
legacy,
the goal. Yeah, that's the
and
goal.
and
For sure.
I hope that for you, man.
It'll be there, bro. I'll be there. Both of us will reach whatever we want to reach, man. I think that's the beautiful thing about being Black people as well. I think this is the question I ask all the time, or I say all the time. It's just like, well, there had to be a reason why this particular group felt as if they needed to keep us in a certain mindset and pit us against each other and make us believe we weren't worth anything. It's because we were worth a lot, and it shows right now in 2022. We're still proving our value, even though it has been shown that we built this country, we've kept it thriving. You know what I'm saying? Especially Black men and Black women. Whew, don't even get me started. Just what
Don't
they
even
have
get us
done.
started, man.
Don't get us started on what they have done. So I just believe that we are we are great, and we've got some great folks that support us, but those who try to keep us down are fading away. And I think it's our time to really take the reins of where we should have been a long time ago, and take it and go. But we got to heal, right? We got to really embrace healing so we can move forward. Until we heal as a community, we won't be able to move forward, because we'll always be moving with hate and revenge and vindication in our heart. And all of that will drive you, but so far. But once you get there, to be like, well, what was this all for? Because you done did it all. Like, you done got here now. It's not for yourself. You did it because you was mad.
Yeah.
Now you can really enjoy it, right? I want to be able to enjoy my success because I didn't get it in spite of somebody.
Yeah.
I got it because that's what I wanted to do, and that's what I love to do. And I had a shot to do it. You know what I'm saying? Or I made my own shot. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely, so, man.
Absolutely. I wish both the beautiful things that, baby, beautiful blessings, bro. You know what I'm saying? Give my love to the family, and man, we'll keep talking, bro. We got each other's numbers now, so we can chop it up again whenever you want to do it.
Absolutely, man.
Thank you.
Please give out your socials. Give out the website, that way people can know where you're at, know what you're doing.
Absolutely. So Instagram is the Qualtiy Truth Org. The Facebook is the Qualtiy Truth Organization. You can find us. Our website is www.thequalitytruthorg.com. If you want to set up sessions to about interviewing your resume, if you want to sign up your child for individual sessions for the curriculum, you can do it there as well. You can DM me, whatever you feel comfortable doing. You can do that and reach out to me and we will get to you for sure. So it's all about empowerment. It's all about building the next generation. Quality people is what we want. So that's where we at. So thank you, my man, Brandon, my boy, Big Sticks, Mr. Vino. I appreciate you, bro.
Love it, man. And don't forget, drink up.
Drink up. Yes, sir.
I got the juice, don't need no proof. 100 like the rum I drink that got me over you. And all your nonsense we all subject to. I found my lane and mind my business like I'm supposed to do. Let's have a toast for all the obstacles that gotta sit. I put my glass up in the air to stimulate the cheers. Not because we made it, but because we making it. I savor the moment, the bouquet forever evident. Yeah. In my realm, I watch the times go by. I got the world in my hands, but I can't tame the sky. Dare I try, I might lose my mind. But it'll be all good after I'm done sipping this wine. Gather around people, it's about that time.